And here we go. I'm Myke Shrews.
And I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
The Munster Cast.
Episode 9. Welcome back to the Munster Cast. I am, of course, Myke Shrews, here with my co-host Tivis. How you doing
I just
today?
noticed I got a little alfalfa thing going on
Yeah,
my
I saw
hair.
you doing that through the intro, and everybody sees us what we're doing when we do the intro on the YouTube.
That's fine. Incentive for them to go check out the YouTube, I guess. Exciting stuff. I'm playing with my hair.
Again, welcome back, everybody. You are listening to the Munster Cast, the podcast where we talk, or where we actually watch every episode of the Munsters and discuss them 2 at a time. Sometimes there's going to be times where we're going to be a few, like one or a movie or something like that. So yeah. Apologies for last week. We did not put on an episode. We got really busy with like the holiday stuff and everything else going on.
Life happened.
Life.
Yeah.
It finds a way.
It certainly does.
So with that said, should we jump into the episode, or do we have anything else to jab about?
I'd like to give a couple of beforehand. We got an email, which you can reach us at TheMunsterCast@outlook.com.
Yes.
Andrew, who, when he sent it to us, was very early on in our episode, so I hope you stuck it out to this point. But he gave us a really nice, really detailed email. It was really nice to go over. He had a couple of things for us. We do go off topic sometimes, and we will try, especially me, try not to go off topic. We like to go into a lot of tangents, and we can't promise it won't happen, but we will try and stick on topic as much as possible. But we do another show together where we do a lot of tangents. So we're trying to get out of that knack for this specific show. So apologies for any of that if it gets too deep. Yeah. I personally don't want to stop mentioning other shows besides the Munsters, especially when I go into like the cast and stuff, because these are, oh man. Sorry, excuse me.
A lot of them are iconic shows too that they're in,
Yeah. So it's all stuff like, say someone, I'm a millennial. Myke's a millennial. Unfortunately, there's a ton of us who are only now discovering these old shows because a lot of us are dumb and don't realize old stuff is good. So I want to, let anyone who stumbles across us, like, hey, the Munsters, I Dream a Genie, Bewitched, Ed, all these old, like, any of these shows,
TV Land stuff that was on in the 90s is probably part of our DNA.
If you enjoy this show, you would probably, enjoy those if you venture out to them.
Yeah.
So that's all I try to do. I will do a better job of sticking on topic, but I can't promise it's going to be that way 100%. Right.
And just for everyone else to know, hey, email us, let us know what you think of the show. And because we are replying to emails that we're getting, it's been a little bit of a hard time. We had some issues logging into it for some reason. It wouldn't let me in, but now it is. So I've been replying to everybody that's been emailing us, and we thank everybody that has been emailing us. If you just want to shout out, hey, email us. We'll shout you out. All right.
Yeah. I got a shout out for Facebook follower Chelsea. She's been leaving us a lot of nice stuff.
Yeah. So again, too, we are on Facebook and Instagram. All and
Twitter.
Twitter. That's
Although
what it was.
We don't have anyone chatting to us on there. It's mostly been Facebook.
Yeah. But so we're on all the socials at the MUNSTERCast and YouTube at the MUNSTERCast. Sorry that it's such a broad name that when you Google it, you just get the MUNSTERCast, as in people. So didn't think about that in the marketing.
Speaking of which, what do you think about that new original character they announced for the movie?
Oh, I saw that you had posted that in the on the Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be another doctor, correct?
Mad scientist from Transylvania.
So I'm curious if he puts in one. I just wanted to see Dr. Dudley return.
Yes.
So I hope he does that. But a new mad scientist, I'm curious to see. Are we sure this isn't a character that showed up in the 80s show or anything like that? Or is it 100%
was
original?
Advertised as a new original?
Okay. All right. So yeah. I don't know.
I could have been lied to again. It's happened already.
Right. Well, if Rob Zombie said that it's an original character, then it's probably 100% original. He likes to just get his buddies in the movies in any way he can. He's like, yeah, we're going to create a new character for you instead of having Lester in and scare everybody.
This is definitely going to be the guy who created Herman, right?
You think, man, because I really like the idea that Grandpa is Dr. Frankenstein and created Herman.
All the clues so far are definitely suggesting he is, but, new movie, new universe, new timeline.
Right. Well, have we in the show so far anyways, have we hinted that in the original show that Herman is originally from Transylvania though?
Yeah, because didn't he mention that he was at the university in Jars?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. All right. So yeah. All right. So maybe that's the doctor who put them together at the university. Mm-hmm. Mad scientist doctor. All right. What's his name? What's the character's name again? Going to be?
Dr. Henry Augustus.
Dr. Henry Augustus. I love it because it sounds like a 70s, 60s name for a scientist. So
I just think of Willy Wonka.
Yeah. That's all right. Well, what do you think about it?
The closer it gets to coming out, the more excited I am. I'm still a bit weary, Rob Zombie, but I'm excited. I can't lie.
I wonder if it's going to still be like a family wholesome type thing, or if he's going to go darker with it. I mean, you can still go a little darker and still be wholesome and family friendly and stuff like that. Like, Haunted Mansion maybe style.
Yeah.
So
if you go too far that way, you lose.
Do we know is he shooting this or at least releasing it in black and white, or is it just in color?
That I'm not sure of.
Okay. I'd like to know about that eventually. And if people out there know, hey, comment and let us know. So I that's something I'm kind of curious. I'm sure if it is in color, he's probably going to release a black and white version because everybody's doing it nowadays. So I'm really excited to see when the movie comes out. It's 2020. Is it 2022 or 2023 that the movie's supposedly released for Rob Zombie? He doesn't know.
Let me see. Fall of 2022.
Okay, so about a year from now, still
for non-Americans.
I live in Florida for people who don't know, and I don't have seasons, so
yeah, shut
it's
up.
all 1 year.
I live in Ohio. We just got a ton of snow.
So that's gonna be fun. All right, so let's dive into episode 16 then, dude. What you got for me?
Grandpa's Call of the Wild is the name of it. Season 1, episode 16. It aired January 7th, 1965. Written by Joe Connolly, Bob Mosier, and Norm Liebman. Directed by Earl Bellamy. And apparently I made these notes during daylight savings because we watched these a bit ago.
Yeah.
Or I did, at least, because I have a note here that says daylight savings sucks.
Awesome.
I'm going to get into the guests before we do the episodes this time, and see how that works as per request by Andrew. We'll see how this flows.
Okay.
So guests this week, we have Ed Peck playing Willard, who was Colonel Fellini on Star Trek. Dan Haggerty as Mr. Haskell. Bing Russell as the second Ranger, who was Kurt Russell's. He is Kurt Russell's father and Wyatt Russell's grandfather, just to let people know. Mike Reagan as the first Ranger. I don't know why they listed the second before the first. Kurt Barrett as the first fisherman. I didn't see any other fisherman.
As the fisherman.
Oh, no, wait, there was two of them. One of them just didn't have a line. So, yeah. All right. And that's all the guests we got this week.
All right. So as Tivis said, episode 16, Grandpa's Call of the Wild, January 7th, 1965. Herman takes the family on a camping trip, and Grandpa turns himself into a wolf to run with the other wolves over the countryside, but he ends up picked up by the park rangers. This one was fun. It was. Learn a little bit more about Grandpa. As the show progresses, I feel Grandpa is the one character we've learned the most about, and yet we still haven't learned enough about him because is he a serial killer? Like, I just want to know, man.
Is it any wonder why he's one of the most popular characters from the show?
I mean, him and Herman ended up just stealing it. Like, it was supposed to be more of a family show.
I feel like Grandpa more so because out of all the characters, he had the longest life outside of the Munsters. Because he did, I listed off all this stuff when we did his spotlight, however many episodes ago, but the movie hour and stuff. And
did he ever do like? Was the movie hour? Was that like him dressed as Grandpa Munster? Okay.
Yeah, he's credited as Grandpa.
Oof. All right. So let's dive into this one, shall we? I mean, the synopsis basically describes this entire episode.
Yeah.
They go camping. They're going on a camping trip. How do we open this episode? Because I have forgotten.
Someone is banging on the door, and Lily hurries to let them in, and it turns out to be Herman, who didn't want to break the door because Lily hates the mess.
Which he breaks the door handle right off anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, and he gets so mad too about it. He's so angry about it too.
Which is a little short-lived because Lily then follows up with, hey, Eddie wants you to take him camping. And good parents, or being good parents, we should probably do this. So they tell Meryl that Meryl says she has to stay home because she wants to study. But Grandpa's willing to go. Obviously from the description, you already know what happens, but I have here, this is going to go badly for them.
And so everyone remembers too, this is the second episode then with the new Marilyn, right? Or third?
Third.
Oh, okay. So, they basically sidelined her again already. What's the actress's name who plays Marilyn now? I always forget this one, even though she's like the longest running one. Okay, at least I'm not the only one who forgets her name.
Yeah. I'm running on like 4 hours sleep. So Pat Priest is now playing her.
Okay. All right. And then, so I have a question. Herman smells these flowers in like the woods. I think it's the woods. And they just instantly die just from him smelling them. How does that work?
I'm guessing he just doesn't bathe.
He's pulling in their scent. He's not putting out his scent onto them.
Maybe his lungs are so powerful that he just sucked the life out of him.
All right. So there's not much that happens in the house in this episode.
No, they walk out holding fishing poles. Yep. Grandpa pulls up with Eddie already in the car.
I thought Herman was driving.
Spot, there's a note here that Spot found out how to open his own food cans, so Merrill doesn't have to worry about that.
Yes, yeah. They say, hey, Merrill, you don't have to worry. He already knows how to open his own food cans. They're leaving him, Marilyn, with Spot to take care of.
I think it was, it might have been the last episode, or maybe it was a couple episodes ago. We got that shot of his food cans, and it's this gigantic
can. Yeah, it's like the size of a kiddie pool. Oh, a barrel. Actually, no, those were barrel sizes. I think
it's the size of Eddie.
Yeah.
So I did get the name of the park they go to, because as they pull up, we get a shot of the sign. It's a Shadow Pine Park.
Okay.
It is. Oh, excuse me, man. It's going great today. It's $2 per vehicle, which is roughly $17.42 today, which is insane considering it's still like $2 when I go up to the KOA just a couple hours north of me.
So wait, how much is it nowadays?
$17.42, like $18.
So it's $2 then, though.
Yeah, but it's still crazy. It's basically $2 still when I go to the KOA.
Is that with the new inflation from like 2021 inflation?
Yeah.
Let's date the show right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're paying about $20 basically to get into a park, which is that the camping fee though too, not just to get into the park? That might also be part of it.
It might be.
That might be like the campground fee. Here, you get this. There's your plot. There you go, right there. Instead of just pulling into the park, because $20 just to pull into the park is kind of crazy.
That's what I'm saying, man.
We have a park here in town, but it's like there's like a lake with it, and then you also have the beaches for the ocean and stuff too. But and then there's like some other stuff and trails and all that stuff. I think it costs like $5 to get into it. And I don't know if they charge extra though if you use the camping area. We've never done it yet. I might do it this summer, so we'll see. But yeah, it's $5, so yeah, $20 is still crazy. Just the park. I'm assuming it's the campground fee as well. That's what I'm under the assumption of. Anyways, that's too long on that.
Well, I used to go camping with my family, and by camping I mean glamping, because again, we went to a KOA. My grandpa ran a car show.
Okay.
So I'm not used to actual rustic camping, and I have no interest in actually doing that. But I've been trying to get my friends together to go to this KOA to start the tradition up again the past couple summers. I've been unsuccessful, but I'm hoping. So we meet these two park rangers at the entrance gate, and they are completely stumped by Herman, who is driving the coach.
Mm-hmm. Again.
Yeah.
Whoever told you that Herman never drives the coach? It's just like,
you know what? I think it's actually coming up in this episode. Yeah. So it was actually a fact I misread. So I lied to myself.
Okay.
Fred never sat in the seat. They had to remove it. So he was sitting on the fur rugs on the floor.
Yeah, I said that in one of our episodes. Like they had to remove the seat for him to get to fit into the vehicle because he was so big compared to especially with the extension boots or the platform boots that they put on them too.
My weird ass mind switched the words around to where he would never sat in the driver's seat. So it wasn't. I'm just an idiot. So the Rangers put a call in to their head ranger.
Yeah, they call their like
Superior.
The superior. I don't know what they called him in this show. I don't think they gave him
Their boss.
a title. They just said boss. So it'd be the head wildlife ranger or something. And was like, hey, we got some weird people coming. Yeah. But before the Munsters even get in there, another car pulls in with like someone who's so sus. It's like crazy.
They were talking about how they've had some ruffians from the nearby town come up. So they're keeping an eye out for suspicious behavior.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to remember. All right, so we get into the park. They find their spot and everything.
Herman's enjoying putting stakes in the ground, and Grandpa's having a fit.
Grandpa's having a fit. He starts to hear. Oh no, Herman or Lily wants the tent in a specific spot between two trees or something like that. Yeah. So Herman just grabs the other tree and rips it out the ground and moves it over there instead of like taking the tent down and putting it over by the tree. Because he's like he had such a hard time putting the tent together. It was funny. And he's just like picks it up, moves it over, and that's it.
Yeah, that tree is totally dead now.
Right.
Let's see. Eddie says he wants to fish. Here's a note. Grandpa's outside in the daylight. I thought he didn't do that.
He's been in the daylight in this whole show. Almost every episode. I don't think we've seen him out really like
in the middle of the day, though.
Maybe grumpy, I guess.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe that's why he, They do get to settle near the lake, which I'm not sure if that's a big. Well, I guess it is a part because they do go fishing. They do the fishing stunt. There at the lake.
Can we make note of when he's moving the tree? They do the whole joke of a little to the left, a little to the right.
Yeah.
And Herman is struggling with this tree that entire time, by the way.
Yeah. He's just like, and he gets that face. Oh,
yeah.
I love.
And then when he's done, an egg falls out of the tree onto his face, and he blames the bird for it.
Yeah.
Like, you moved the damn tree, dude.
Yeah. All right. So his grandpa starts to behave like weird. And I really do assume that it's because of the sun. We can blame it on the sun.
Could be. Before that, though, we did get a shot of the Rangers, who are worried that the Munsters might try to break into their office.
Yeah,
and that's all that scene was for. Was the
to
they're a bunch of burglars.
Them. They just profiled the Munsters. That's all they were doing. That's So they start to fish before Grandpa does anything else. They start to do their fishing, and Herman chucks the fishing rod, like not the fishing rod, but the fishing line, all the way out.
He's gonna run out of line, is what it looks like.
Yeah. And then, but in the meantime, we also see cross scenes of the wildlife people. I don't even know their titles in this show. So wildlife rangers is what I'll call them. And
I read them off, but I couldn't tell you which character's which. They're all
right.
Yeah.
And but they're out cooking steak or something like that. Was it steak or chicken? I forget.
Yeah, well, the first one's fish.
It is fish. The first one was fish, but then after that it was some other stuff. No.
It was fish, and then the second time it's barbecue chicken,
cooked,
which he then proceeds to eat. I'm like, it went through that gross ass water. Don't eat that.
He's made of like 100 different guys. You think he cares? But yeah, he's fishing and he ends up grabbing their food off of the grill like 200 yards away, which, by the way, I don't think a fishing rod has that much line on it, but okay.
He's like, oh, it's already cooked. There must be a hot spring in the lake.
Yeah. And seasoned.
Oh, one thing I forgot to say is when they packed up, there was a coffin in the coach.
Yes.
It turns out that was Eddie's coffin.
Yes, that was one of my notes. I was like, a coffin sleeping bag, because they call it a sleeping bag, and then you hear the coffin lid shut.
That's just plain his bed, because it was the first episode we watched. It had the
bed, the coffin.
Yeah, well, you heard it through the door.
I want to get one of those sleeping bags. More like a sleeping box. Am I right?
Grandpa's gonna sleep in a hammock. He's also roasting marshmallows with his fingers, and mentions how he misses running around with his pack in Transylvania.
Yeah.
Also, they tell him, don't turn into a wolf again. Last time you did that, we found you with the neighbor's dog, and I don't like the implications here.
What was he doing with the neighbor's dog? We're not going to get into that.
No. This show, though,
it leaves things open for your imagination, so all members of the family can enjoy it, Tivis. If you're into that thing.
No.
I have a note here, and I don't know what this note is for. Maybe you can help me. It says, Moon came out and spoiled it all. What is that note for in this episode? I guess because the moon comes out and Grandpa feels that he has to
become a wolf,
be a wolf and stuff.
That's a good question. I have no idea what that.
I don't know what that note is for, guys. I'm sorry. It was a note, and I probably had a lot to say about it, and now I don't.
Yeah. Herman's done fishing for the day, but he can't wait to fish for breakfast in the morning.
Yeah, he's like, maybe I'll find me some eggs and some.
Yeah, so they all go off to bed, and this entire time there's like a wolf in somewhere out there howling, and Grandpa decides that he's going to start communicating back.
Yeah. Oh wait, I know why Grandpa was so antsy at the beginning in the campground. It was because Herman was hammering the stakes into the ground, and Grandpa was like, "It reminds me." Okay, you said that. I didn't hear that. Why didn't I hear that? I'm too busy.
Yeah, because he's hammering stakes in the ground, and Grandpa's like, "I wish," or "I told you not to hammer stakes around me."
Yeah. All right. And then so as you're saying, Grandpa's sitting there and he starts hearing the wolves howling in the middle of the night, and he gets super anxious and just wants to join them. So what does he do?
Yeah.
Oh, and it was a police dog, not the neighbor dog, that Lily warned him about.
Was it
what from the last time he ended up with a police dog?
Oh, I thought they said the neighbor's dog. All right.
And
some probably are being arrested or something.
Yeah. So Grandpa ends up taking off and they can't find him. And
Lily's worried and wakes up Herman, who is not able to fit in his tent.
Yeah,
that is a note. Out. Yeah. And his feet and his head.
Yeah. But Grandpa's gone. Herman's like, there's nothing to worry about. He can take care of himself. Mm-hmm. And Lily is still super worried. And later on, that they hear by radio that a wolf has been caught. And they added it's a Transylvanian wolf. Which how the hell did they know the breed of a Transylvanian wolf? Anyways,
they're damn good rangers,
right? Oh, those profiling rangers are so good. But Herman, instead of doing anything, he just wants to stay at the camp because he doesn't want Grandpa to spoil his vacation with his stupid little antics.
Yeah, he's
which
annoyed
good for Herman though, because Grandpa's always screwing Herman's stuff up, bro.
He is, like, all the time. We'll get into that later.
So good for Herman for standing up for himself for this time.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going fishing. I'm not helping.
Yeah.
So Lily goes, I'm going to do something. And Herman's like, yeah, all right. And then she storms off and he's like, wait, where are you going?
Yeah, she ends up going off to the ranger station to claim Grandpa for herself and says, "Oh, I'm here for the wolf, and he's my dad."
Yeah, she begins berating him in front of the Rangers, and they're just bewildered by this.
Yeah, they don't believe her, of course. But she talks to him and scolds him very much. And yeah, it's Lily apparently understands Grandpa in dog form too.
It's that vampire mental telepathy.
Telepathy, maybe.
I don't know if that's a thing.
But Grandpa communicates to her. We don't hear it, but she, of course, what's the word I'm looking for here? Exposits what he's saying, basically, or that he doesn't remember how to turn himself back into human form.
She's like, what are you talking about? You've been doing it for 200 years.
Nevertheless, the Rangers, of course, don't let her have her dad back. The Transylvanian wolf.
She is mad too.
Yeah, she gets super mad. They don't believe her, and she just puffs off.
She's like, I'm gonna go get my husband, and they're like, what? Why is she so upset?
Right. Go on.
She goes to Herman. She's like, hey, can you bust him out of that cage? She's like, I'm not a common thug, Lily.
Yeah.
But finally, once his Eddie gets involved, Herman's like, all right, I'll do it for my son.
Yeah. So we see,
and then he breaks the table, I might add.
Oh, the picnic table one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as Herman goes to rescue,
how much shit
Grandpa,
has he broken?
He breaks things in every episode.
Yeah, he does.
It's like his gimmick.
The amount of money they have to pay out just for him.
Right. Could you imagine if Rob Zombie's doing it? He's probably just going to IKEA and buying all their furniture.
Collapsible stuff.
So when Herman goes to rescue Grandpa, there are dogs all in cages in this area. Like they just captured all these dogs or wolves. I couldn't really tell what they were, but they're just capturing them and holding on to them. But he knows exactly which one's Grandpa. Good for him. They didn't do the stupid, hey, Grandpa, is this you? And then
he's seen it.
I honestly thought he was going to take the wrong dog.
No, he's clearly seen Grandpa in this form too many times, which I believe when he first turned into a wolf in like episode 2 or 3, it was a looked like a gray and black wolf, whereas this one is just pure white.
Maybe he changed his appearance to match the wolves he was hanging out with.
Could be.
Maybe.
But then why would they say it's a Transylvanian?
Well, maybe his snout is shaped differently.
Yeah, maybe. Or he's just stopped dyeing his hair.
Make it. It's part of the plot, Tivis. Don't overthink it. It's the Munsters, man.
I can't help it.
No. So Herman finds Grandpa, and
after he trips over some metal barrels, and the Rangers think there's a bear back there.
Yeah. So the way the way they shot this, it's really cool because they have Herman. They do the close up on Herman's hand, twisting and breaking the lock. But while they're doing like the close up and stuff, because we only see Herman's hands, the mannerisms in the rest of the body are so Herman like that I thought it was really good in attention to detail. That even though we don't see Herman's face, we don't really see a lot of his body. What you see of his body is still the way Herman would move his body. Like when he does that whole arm up in the air, like thing, and the way he moves his arms and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool because you honestly, when you see close-ups, if you see close-ups like that anymore, you don't see the attention to detail within the actual character's mannerisms. It's just half the time it's someone random person's hand doing the job anyway. So yeah, I really enjoyed that part.
Anyway, the attention to detail in this show is incredible.
Oh yeah, except for apparently they forgot which dog they used.
So the Rangers,
I do think that they use the same dog or wolf or whatever for this one as they used in the Magic Show one. They looked about the same.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah. So yeah.
That was another good one. My grandpa's focused episodes are some of the best.
It's that timing, man. They just know that timing, right?
So the Rangers come out to scare the bear.
Yeah.
And Herman runs through the fence. And even though the wolf is gone and the fence is broke, the other ranger that comes out there is like, you're telling me that whatever was ran out of here with that wolf? What are you drinking? Like, just look around you.
Yeah. So here's a funny part too with the Rangers. So the next morning after Grandpa's rescue, the family hears on the radio again a report saying that a big bear has taken away the wolf. A big bear, mind you, has taken away the wolf, the Transylvanian wolf. But the Rangers will be checking out at the inspection hut. Everybody driving out of there. Oh, shouldn't they just be worried about watching for the bears instead of checking everyone's luggage?
Always watch out for bears, first off. But
it's like Yogi snuck into their freaking thing and took Grandpa.
You go ahead and say what Herman's great idea was to get them out of there.
Is it what they actually did? Right? Yeah. So, Herman had this great idea, and they're pulling up out, and there's the inspectors. They're all there looking and stuff, and they're checking them. And I think Eddie scares them too when he pops out or something. If I'm not, because he just puts his head in the back window from out of nowhere. Yeah, and they pull away, and I didn't notice it at first until like I really started looking. They start
revealing it,
and then I realized, oh shit. They put Grandpa around Lily as a scarf. Which one, as the people there, wouldn't you be questioning why she has a scarf made out of the exact same animal you're looking for in the first place?
They're probably just so happy they're leaving. Yeah, so we get back to the house, and you could tell that this is just like a husky. And God, I love dogs, dude. I want a dog so bad. We don't have a fenced-in yard, so my wife won't let me have one yet till I get that fixed. But I'm a dog person at heart, even though I got 2 cats. But anyway. The family, they're back home and they're telling Meryl about everything that's happened. And Grandpa, still being the wolf. Herman's like, I'm going to go get the de-wolfing potion.
Grandpa tells him where it's at. Go ahead.
You could trust him after, he screwed up a potion not that long ago.
Right. Again, I really thought that I think if in a longer episode it would have been a mistake for there would have been the mistaken wolf stolen thing instead of Grandpa. But Grandpa takes this potion, Tivis, and after they give the potion to him, he bolts out chasing a cat.
While he's chasing the cat, he runs behind a bush and comes out as Grandpa. He's running on all fours. Just amazing for
which it looks like they shot that actually outside, because when they cut, the lighting changes a little bit on the scene. So so grandpa, or the dog, the wolf, whatever, runs behind this bush, and then within editing and stuff like that, they cut and then edit grandpa running back out the other side. So, and then the lighting changed a lot. So either they forgot a light, or it was because the sunlight had moved already by the time they reshot that, which I'm surprised they didn't just have the actor waiting there behind the bush in the first place and then just do it as one solid shot. But that's just me.
But as Grandpa comes out from the bush, he stops chasing the cat and is like, I have no memory. We were at the campsite. Where are we?
Yeah.
And Herman then...
Does he really not have any memory of it?
That's a good question. He's a known liar.
Right.
But regardless, Herman still reprimands him. And that's how we close out the episode.
Awesome. So, oh man, we're running long today, aren't we? Final thoughts on this episode, man.
It was a fun one. And I only got a couple of trivia after you go. So go ahead. What are your thoughts?
I enjoyed it. It was nice to have the Munsters somewhere else besides just in their house. I really like when they do the location stuff, so the outside stuff and all that, because it puts the Munsters in an actual world, rather than, oh, they're just in this creepy mansion house thing. So yeah, I enjoy it. And like you said, like the grandpa centric stuff is like very, it's a little more story driven, I would say, than some of the other episodes have been.
Yeah, they usually have a lot more antics because Grandpa's such a broad character with his magic and potions and trying to kill people. And
yeah. Okay.
So I already mentioned the one about the car seat. Both Connolly and Mosier worked on Munsters and Leave It to Beaver. So anyone who's watched that show may recognize they reused the name Mr. Haskell from that show as kind of a little homage. Okay. And the title is based on the novel The Call of the Wild by Jack London. So shall we jump straight into the second episode?
Yes.
Since we are going a bit long, because we decided to boast about people talking about, being nice to us and giving us.
We could go critique. A little longer, but we'll be fine on time. Episode 17, though.
Yep. The title All-Star Monster, season 1, episode 17, aired January 17th, 1964. No, it can't be 65. I did not change the year because I recycle my notes. I just erase stuff. Again, written by the same team we're used to and directed by Earl Bellamy.
Awesome.
The guest list on this one is Pat Buttram as Pop Mallory, Robert Easton as Moose Mallory. What's that?
Pat Buttram?
Probably. I'm terrible with names if I haven't already said that on this show.
God, I hope that is like a born name and not like a stage name, because why would you pick that?
Robert Easton as Moose Mallory, who you may recognize as the Klingon judge from Star Trek VI.
Yep.
And he is actually only a little shorter than half an inch shorter than Fred Gwynn at 6 foot 4.5 inches. Gene Blakely as Jerry, who was in 8 episodes of Bewitched as a character named Dave. Frank Maxwell as Coach Ranger Denman, who will return in a future episode as a different character, and was Dan Rooney in 21 episodes of General Hospital, for anyone who likes that. And then we have an uncredited Daryl Imhoff, who is Herman Munster, actually, when he plays basketball.
Okay. They use a different actor. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, he was a stuntman and an actual professional basketball player.
Okay. Awesome. So, all right, let me do this here real quick. Episode 17, All-Star Munster. I'm not going to repeat the date. I need to stop repeating the date. Herman goes to
repeat ourselves a lot.
Yeah. Herman goes to Maryland's college to straighten out the tuition matter. In searching for the dean's office, he wanders into the gym and is mistaken for a basketball star who is supposed. Well, that's not written right. Let me rephrase that so that it's written properly. He wanders into the gym and is mistaken for a basketball star who is supposedly there to try out for that day. There we go. And Tivis left me hanging dry.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here.
So All-Star Munster starts out with Marilyn basically complaining about how she might be kicked out of school. And because tuition isn't paid. And was there someone at fault for this? I forget. It was not paid fully. So was this Lily's fault?
No, I think it's in my notes somewhere, so we'll probably get to it as we go.
Okay. Well, we're going.
Yeah, I know. Let me say it. All right.
Uh-oh.
So we open up with, Herman walking up to the house, using his giant key to unlock the door. I had to make note of that because,
yeah,
why not? So this is the one where Lily tries to help him, but he's holding onto the handle already, and it just comes right off.
Yes, that's okay. I thought that was the last one. All right, so this is the one where he actually breaks the. Yeah, the perfect like zigzaggy form. Yeah. Okay.
More repairs to the house from Herman. Meryl comes home in tears, saying she can't go back to college. So I don't know if this was confirmed already. This is Lily's sister's daughter, which I think they did mention like early on.
Yeah.
So she's not the daughter of the werewolf dude.
Which I wonder
God,
if
I hope we see him
sister.
again. What's that?
I wonder if we ever see her sister.
It'd be great if we saw more of the family, because so far we've got Herman's twin and Lily's werewolf brother, Lester.
Lester, the molester. Let's go.
So Grandpa is furious that they threw out Marilyn. So it's Grandpa's pretty self-centered, but he loves his, grandchildren.
Yeah.
You could see that a lot in the episodes where he's helping Eddie build a robot and trying to help Marilyn find love. Herman blames Lily for not paying the tuition.
Herman blames Lily, but as far as Grandpa, I don't think that he does it because he loves them. I think he does it because it's science stuff and he just wants to mess around with science. Grandpa does not seem like a very good person.
No,
it just comes off that way because he's doing these things that only would necessarily benefit his own ego, I guess. You can make a love pill. Okay, that's benefiting you, not necessarily the person all the time. You can make a robot for
sleeping potion.
Yeah. These are all things that benefit Grandpa in the long run and push his ego. Now, I can do this. Anyway, I'm gonna get shit for that one. I know.
Oh, that's fair. It's a fair. I think he cares about the grandkids a bit more than he does his daughter.
Oh yeah,
definitely more than Herman.
I mean, isn't that usually how grandparents work, anyways?
Grandpa mentions that he was the only other person in the family to be thrown out of school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they list the reason why or if they just brush over that. I don't have it in my notes, so I don't think they did.
Remember a reason that he said.
So Herman says he'll go talk to them, and we cut to the school, or the basketball coaches are wondering where their star player is. And I think we can pretty much guess where this is going.
Yeah. Well, they also they do a long segment about the whole basketball player. Moose Mallory is his name, and they go in and they talk about him being big and strong and great at playing basketball, but he's kind of slow in the head.
Oh boy, was he.
Uneducated, I think was their terms, because they're like, well, by the time the quarter's over, the basketball season will be over and we'll have him already and we'll be done with him.
I have some words on that subject when we get to Moose.
So
Herman is lost in the school trying to figure out where the dean's office is. He begins talking to a statue. Has he never seen a statue before?
Well, I mean, some of the statues in his house talk back to him. So
fair. I don't have anything against that. We haven't seen it, but I'm sure it happens. Doesn't their suit of armor move around?
I think so. Either that or people just keep getting in it. I'm not sure. Also, where is the Invisible Man gone? We haven't seen him in episodes, man.
Where is he?
Oh, anyways.
They finally throw out Grandpa's roommate. We haven't seen Igor in a while either.
He was in a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, all right. So he finds the coach's office and, he knocks. He's like, oh, finally, get in here. And I'm here about the tuition. He's like, oh, yeah, tuition's covered. Don't worry about it. Oh, really?
Right.
They test his strength by giving him a dumbbell, and then does he hand it over to the guy and almost kill him?
He just hands it over and the guy goes whoosh, straight to the floor.
So Herman has no idea what the hell is going on.
No, and then they tell him he has to come to the gym.
They give him a contract that they're like, hey, sign this and everything's taken care of.
First they make him do the gym stuff first.
Oh yeah, you're right.
They're like, before we can take care of the tuition, you got to do this.
They call him,
before you see the dean, you have to do this. That's what it was, because his whole thing was about seeing the dean. He wanted to see the dean, and they're like, well, you can see the dean as soon as you do this. And they get him in, and he has to do like some different basketball things. And of course, Herman is a badass at playing basketball too. He's a good wrestler and a good basketball player. What the heck? Why is he not in the Olympics?
They call him Moose, and he thinks it's a nickname. Which, okay, first of all, here's the only trivia fact I have: college coaches personally recruit people. There's no way in hell this guy wouldn't know what Moose looks like. There's my trivia for the episode done.
Yeah, because they actually go to games, they see the players, they watch you do your stuff. They're not gonna bring you in based on like hearsay. Yeah. I mean, nowadays it's a little easier because they have like YouTube where all the games are and stuff like that, but they still know what you look like.
Before we get to the whole basketball tryout thing with Herman and the court, we cut to the bus stop where we meet Moose and his father, and he turns out to be a country bumpkin. Now, as this episode goes on, they said that he's a bit slow in the head.
Mm-hmm.
His son, Moose, is much smarter than the father and is able to adjust to city life much quicker because they're clearly from way out in the boonies.
Yeah. He's already got a TikTok set up.
So because my family comes from a mix of Kentucky and West Virginia, they are Southern. So I kind of take offense to the fact that because he's Southern, he's slow.
I mean, it's always been the thing. Like I grew up in West Virginia.
It has. I'm just taking offense.
Growing up in West Virginia, you see it a lot. The stereotype come from there. I mean, and it's not necessarily wrong
Untrue.
all the times.
Yeah.
Because
stereotypes come from from somewhere.
So I mean, there are people like that, but as saying, oh, well, he's from this place and it's this, especially because they haven't met them and they're already making the assumptions. That's the wrong part on the coach's part, which, I mean, we're not supposed to assume these coaches are good people anyways. They just want the kid for his talent. They don't really care about his education. So
which we'll see here in a bit.
It plays into, I feel, the character development of the coaches that we're seeing. They're just dumbasses themselves. So, yeah.
So a little fun fact, I actually do the trivia and stuff and the guest list before I watch the episode. So I saw that there was a stunt double for basketball. And while watching this, I somehow forgot because I have a note here that's like, oh, this is for basketball. For some reason in my head, I was thinking it was football.
Right. I'm surprised it wasn't like wrestling again.
Yeah.
Put him on the wrestling team.
So yeah, the Herman's confused why he can't see the dean. They tell him he has to play basketball. Herman throws the basketball over his shoulders, and the coaches are astounded.
Yeah, because he makes
the fact that it goes right in
from half court, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they show him playing, and you could tell it's not Fred at that point.
Like, yeah, he's running.
It was
down.
Pretty obvious that it's a much more slender man
and athletic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my only thought to why he's good at basketball is his passion for science, being able to do the right angles and stuff to make it in. I'm sure he's also really good at billiards.
Or he was made out of some athletes. Different athletes.
How long has basketball been around exactly?
Basketball's from that's a good question.
Can the listeners tell I'm very knowledgeable about sports ball subjects?
1891 was the first time it was played. So,
all right.
129 years ago in Springfield, Massachusetts, United States. That was when it was first played. I would say probably Spotlight, maybe. I'm sure Kids or somebody did it beforehand too.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. I didn't know that. But he signs the contract, and then before he leaves, he decides he wants to try and climb the rope and breaks the ceiling.
Yeah. Why do they need him to climb the rope? He's playing basketball. Jeez, like
it's just for fun, I guess. It's one of those throwaway things that they just do for why not?
I mean, you run your laps, you run up and down the court. You're not climbing a rope.
Well, no one asks him to do it. He just does it.
Oh, yeah. He just sees it there. Yeah. Okay.
He's like, I'm going to do that. So Moose.
Go on.
Moose does finally arrive at the college, and they realize the signature on the contract doesn't say Moose.
Yeah, it says Munster, right? It just says Munster.
And they're like, well, crap. All right. We find out that they're from Kentucky. And so that's a longest drive to go from Kentucky to California, which I think this is the first time we find out that the Munsters live in California.
Yeah, so 1313 Mockingbird Lane is in California.
Yeah. And the coaches have no problem just throwing him out because, I mean, Munster is better. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Maybe that's why all their money, like their winnings and stuff, are so high in value, because they live in California, because nothing is actually high in value there.
Possibly.
It's okay to laugh on the camera. You don't have to hide it. All right.
So they're at dinner where Herman tells Marilyn, hey, You're good to go, and explains the process and the weird interview he had. Lily and Grandpa are shocked. Meryl saddened, and Eddie is excited when they all when they get Herman to realize that he screwed up.
Yeah. Grandpa realizes he was on there. So he ends up heading back down.
Yeah, but I want to make note. Grandpa is furious with Herman. Again, proving my point that he does care about these grandkids, at least a little.
Yeah. So he heads back to the school and is like, "Look, I'm not doing this. I can't."
Oh,
and
before we get to that, though, Lily is like, this is the second time we've seen her be really mean to Herman, like as mean as Grandpa is. They're laying into him. And yet Herman shows no concern for, not having fixed the problem.
Yeah. Oh, shit. So he does try to fix the problem. They won't let him out because he signed the contract.
Before that.
No.
You missed Moose and his dad go to the Herman Munster house.
That's after.
No, it's before, because they convince him. They let him know that they won't let Moose play. So that's why he goes back.
I thought that he went back first and then came back and then they found out and then they went to his house.
No.
Okay.
They were sitting in their hotel room and they're mad. So they're like, let's go see these monsters. And they go, like, boy, look at this fancy house.
Right. Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, they tell them, they're like, well, we signed this guy and yeah, so they get him. They go to the Munsters house and like they're gonna beat him up or something. Like,
yeah, they're like, hey, they won't let my boy play. Lily lays into Herman like this is the meanest we've seen her be to him in the entire show so far.
Yeah, dude, one of these summaries on IMDb says, when the real Moose and his hick father are sent home by the coach. I feel hick is a derogatory term nowadays. It should be. With all the other
I don't have a problem with that
out
there. So Pa talks about how ugly Herman is. And these are the first people, I might add, to be inside the monster house and not be immediately scared. Like Paul wants to pick a fight with Herman.
Yeah. Well, no, they think the house is awesome. They think it's like an awesome place.
Fancy and modern.
No, the word hick should be, yes, it means a person living in the country regarded as being unintelligent or provincial. Wait, I can't read that.
All right. Well, there you go.
So that is an offensive term. You dumb hick.
So Herman offers, hey, why don't you guys stay as our guests? Well, I'm going to go fix this.
Yeah.
And Paul tells Grandpa his town would kill him with if Grandpa were to come to their town, they would kill him and mug him. And Grandpa takes that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Oh.
What did he like? Are they just lynching people in his town? And what town does he live in? Because I don't want to go there.
That's Kentucky. So
anywhere in Kentucky.
They have a massive drug problem and have for years. So, sad, but true. Let's see. Moose asked Pa to. Moose, his foot catches on fire, and he asks his dad to put it out because he's closer to his legs. Which,
yes,
I don't think that's true. These two are weirder than the entire Munsters family. Well, and also, his foot was clearly on fire. That actor is incredible for not reacting.
I mean, they probably had like flame retardant boots on them and shit like that. So they had that stuff then.
I've never been lit on fire, in a controlled way.
Been lit on fire. I've caught on fire, but I've never been lit on fire. You can feel it.
I have
Trust me.
caught fire. But from what I hear, that you're in the movie industry, have you ever worked with that kind of stuff? I've heard that the heat, you still feel it.
Yes, you can still feel the heat from the pyrotechnics, and especially if you're wearing even like the flame retardant suits and stuff, you can still feel the heat. This is why usually you see them run past the camera or drop down, and they get put out right away as soon as they're done with the take. So yeah.
Oh, that's what that note is for, because his dad goes to put it out and he just puts the paper over top of it. It's clearly still on fire when they leave the
yeah.
I remember now. All right.
The fact that he puts paper on the fire. I could have seen a blanket, but
now we're at the university.
Yeah. And then Herman's pleading with them to take it back. They won't they're like, you signed the contract, you're playing for us. And he threatens them with something because he keeps going back and forth. He's like, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Like a bunch of freaking kids. But he says something to them that gets them to change their mind, correct? Because at first they're like, well, what do you want? A car or a house or what? And he's like, no, I just don't want a contract.
So they're going back and forth, and then we cut back to the house with Moose and Pa.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what we're really cutting back.
There's a funny joke here that we missed. They talk about how Herman must be out of his skull, and he's like, no, not again. He keeps checking his head to make sure it's there.
Yeah.
Moose and Pa are getting excited by everything in the Monster House, like the sink and the ostrich eggs that are in the fridge. And then Moose sees Marilyn and begins flirting immediately, because that's just what they do. But Marilyn doesn't seem to mind, so that's nice.
For once.
Pa talks about how he wants his son to improve his life. That's being a bad parent.
Yeah.
You shouldn't use your children to make your life better. You should just want their life to be better.
I mean, that's how a lot of people were back, especially back then. I mean, there still are people like that today, but like child actors, you're going to keep doing this until my bills are paid.
Yeah. Britney Spears.
The Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, that poor guy. So, so there's still, that's how he gets out of it. Herman loses his temper and destroys their desk.
Yes, and they're fearful. So
they just take the contract and
yeah. And then they sign Moose up, because there's not much after that. They sign Moose up, and
the radio mentions that he's on a hot streak, leading the team to many victories.
And then we get Marilyn has a date, and it's Moose. And he comes and picks her up in this fancy ass car, which
new car.
We're under the assumption that he got it from the college for signing on and everything.
Yeah, of course, as a gift, because they can't give you items.
I mean,
for being a college sports player.
Back then they could.
I think it was still against the rules. They just let it slide a lot more than they do today.
NCAA and shit like that. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Herman thinks Moose has a job at the cafeteria to afford it, and that's where we close the episode.
I guess a job at the cafeteria to afford that kind of car. They live in California. He must have his rent paid too by the school.
I think, that entire ending to me tells me that everyone knew, like they do today, that if you go to college sports team, you're gonna get,
if you're good,
gifts.
If you're good, you have to be a good player for it. Yeah, but
incentive to stick with them.
A free education isn't enough. Tivis, come on, man.
Yeah, dude. I find it hard to believe sports people use that education, but
all right. So, thoughts on this episode?
that was another fun. Like these back to back were really great. I had a lot of fun.
All right. I'm going to read my one note.
Oh, great. Here we go.
This is the one note I took for this episode after it ended. So did they ever fix Maryland's tuition problem? Because don't say so.
I would assume so, and I hope so.
It's not told to us. They never mentioned it again after he signs the contract. We're just left to wonder, is Maryland going back to school next episode? Anyways, that was my one note for this whole episode that I wrote down. It was an okay episode. It wasn't I really enjoyed the previous episode 16, Grandpa's Call to the Wild, or of the Wild, sorry. So out of these two, I'd like the Grandpa's episode better. All-Star Munster seemed like it was trying a little too hard to be like, ha ha ha, screw college sports.
Which I'm not a sportsman, so I'm okay with. I watched these back to back, and I had a good time with it.
Awesome.
Right. I am very excited for next week's episodes, though.
Yes. I don't know what they are, so I'll find out when we get to them. All right, guys. Well, with that said, Tivis, let's remind everyone, you guys can all find us on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, all at TheMunsterCast. And then you can also find us on email. You can email us at TheMunsterCast.
We are on the email.
We are on the emails. Start talking like the boo. The boo.
You can also find us on the internet.
The internets. You can email us at themunstercast@outlook.com if you want to tell us your stories of your fandom of the Munsters. If you want to just reach out to us, let us know how we're doing. You can also just do it in the comment section too if you want, on any of the socials, anything like that. Like if
you have an awesome story of meeting Butch Patrick, because I hear he's a wonderful guy from everyone who's told us so far.
He's getting around everywhere, so I'm sure lots of people have met him over the years. And we don't discriminate whatever your age is. We'd love to hear your stories about what you think of the Munsters, what the Munsters mean to you, because I'm willing to read your guys' stories out. If you want us to, just let us know in the email if you don't want your stuff to be read aloud. All right. With that said, Tivis, final words.
Yeah, I'm loving this show.
All right. And with that said, we will catch you as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.